Hey everyone, this is my summary video presentation for my field experience here at George Fox, and we're starting with the overview of my placement. So basically, I was just put at the Chehalem Valley Middle School. It's about 5 minutes north of campus, so that was actually kind of nice to be able to not have to travel so far to get to it, because it added a considerable amount of hours to my academic schedule. So that was nice, and that was where I was placed. So here's an overview of some of my activities. I supervised the PE at the school. Just helped students to push a little bit harder in their PE. Just played with them a little bit, participated in the PE with them, that to encourage them. I acted as an assistant teacher and helped with student assignments, and that was really fun because I was able to actually directly become involved with people at the special education department, both teachers and students themselves that had special needs. So that was direct experience. And I sat in also in class sessions to learn kind of how in humanities and math classes and stuff to kind of get an idea of how the inside of a classroom works. And I sit in on a lot of planning meetings, SSTs, where that's how they evaluate the student needs and circumstances, to see what they need to do for accommodations and modifications of curriculum for those particular students. So that's kind of like the basis for their 501 or 504 plans, essentially. So that was really nice. That was actually really cool to see, because then I basically got like a really in-depth look into kind of like the core of how a lot of these psychologists and student planners work to support students and help them achieve success. And I also interviewed school professionals, the psychologists and the counselors and the teachers, like what their processes were, like what their experience was, and just got a lot of advice from them. And I just talked to a lot of people about like what needs need to be filled, and what their kind of experience in the field was. And I got a lot of advice from people, which was real, and wisdom as well. So, and then a few other various things, played with students during breaks. I think that was important to build a relationship with these particular students, and gain a relationship outside of I'm just here to teach you, but also like, I'm a fellow human. I'm kind of your friend, or kind of like, whatever. I'm there to help them, essentially, is what that communicated. And so a few other things like that. So my personal reaction, it was really challenging because I was faced with a lot of things that I was humbled. I really did not realize how little I knew, and how hard it was to actually apply my coursework and the stuff that I knew, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm paralyzed. I don't always know what to do. So it was challenging to figure out, how can I actually help when I don't necessarily have the skills. So it was challenging. And I was surprised in some ways, how easy it was. A lot of times you just came into a classroom and you're just like, okay, I'm just here to ask how people are doing, help them with encourage them in the process of doing their assignments and stuff. So that was easy. I was also kind of surprised about how much distance there is between educators and students. Like, there is this thing you don't want to get, like, there's this tendency to not want to get too close to the students because there's a liability and stuff like that. And I think that created kind of like a removed nature between students and teachers. And this is where the rewarding aspect of it comes. I realized that it was really rewarding to push past my own barriers, but also help students push past barriers and help them, and to realize that, like, when I came in, they were happy to see me. I realized that I was having a positive effect on them. And I felt like this relationship that I built with them actually helped me to teach them a little bit more, because they were more motivated to learn when they knew I was going to help them, or when I encouraged them and stuff like that. So I think that was something that I learned that maybe a lot of teachers don't do, because I think, they're a little bit fatigued and tired of working with these students as well, like, as it gets in certain times of your profession. So that was just a few reactions. So meeting original goals, that one was, some of these I did pretty good on, and some of them I didn't, and it was a little bit more challenging. Apply helping listening strategies is the first one. That one was hard. I tried my best. The first few weeks were actually like really good. I was able to actually listen. Yeah, that, and I did pretty good. I got a little bit fatigued, so my listening kind of went out the window. I got a little bit frustrated with the students as well. That was, I realized kind of like how I lack a lot of mercy and compassion and stuff like that, and so that was humbling as well. I assisted the educators, so number two, I did that to keep. I got a little bit more comfortable with telling students what to do and being like, okay, you need to be quiet. You're being a little bit loud right now, which normally I would be uncomfortable with. And I help students meet educational goals, and that required a little bit of listening because you have to know, like, okay, what do you need? What are your circumstances? What kind of mental disabilities do you have that I can basically create a helpful environment for you to bypass that to learn? So listening came in helpful for that. Practice professional skills. I didn't actually do a whole lot with the professional skills. Basically, I just had to show up on time, be polite, and all that type of stuff. So that was kind of easy. There wasn't a huge standard that I had to follow really, and provide a relationship for students to express their challenges and stressors. Now, like I said before, obviously, I was working hard to build a relationship with these students that was a little bit more friendly than just I'm your educator and that's about it. I tried to introduce a little bit of a friendship element in there, and I think that actually helped. Like I said, I think they were more comfortable around me, and they were more encouraged to learn because of that closer relationship that we had. And that may be wrong. I mean, I may be interpreting it wrong, but I think it did help, or at least I hope it did, and it at least made them a little bit more happy, which I think is, even if that's it, that's all that I did, I think that was still kind of good, at least for the this semester's worth of field experience. So, relating prior coursework to the experience, personality theory, understanding how personality is an indicator of internal psychology. Basically, if you can notice personality, you can get them more tuned into their psychological experience. So that's important to be able to pay attention to external personalities and things that you can see. Learning theory, obviously in the education field, you ask questions like, how are they learning, or what can I do to make it easier for them to learn, right? Because if they have a mental disability that you're not aware of and you just keep throwing the same learning strategy at them and it's a little bit above them, or it doesn't work with their modalities, their impaired modalities even, they're not going to learn, and you're putting them at a great disadvantage. So the idea is, like, how are they learning, and how can I modify it so that they actually learn based on their circumstances? And counseling, obviously listening and helping. If you don't listen, you don't learn about what they need, and therefore you will not be able to help. So listening is core to being able to help. So the counseling courses have really helped with that. And like I said, I think for the first few weeks, that worked out really well before I got a little bit fatigued, and those strategies were a little bit harder to upkeep. But for that first little bit, they really helped, and hopefully I can grow my muscles in those because they were very effective. So integration of faith with experience. So basically, these three scripture passages I've thought about them a lot, and they really do inform a lot of, really, I thought about them a lot, essentially. So Galatians 6, 2-5, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. Obviously, we're supposed to bear each other's burdens. We're supposed to be like, I don't really want to do this, but part about being a Christian and serving Christ is about serving others and bearing their burdens as your own. And that requires a lot of care, and that does show true love, which obviously is the main concept of caring. And there's also the element of Galatians 6:9, and let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. And that was important because that obviously you don't give up, right? It's like, even when you're tired and you don't feel like you're doing a lot of good, which I struggled with a lot during this internship. I just didn't feel like I was doing a lot of good or being very helpful. So I kind of got like depressed and a little bit I struggled to keep heart, if you will. So this one I thought about a lot, and like this one I'm thinking about a lot now, realizing that you got to keep on track and don't grow weary. Just keep focused on the fact that you're doing good, even if it's just a little bit. And then Matthew 25, 29-30, for to everyone who has more will be given, and he will have an abundance. So that basically is like the multiplication of the talents, like using what God has given you to and multiplying it so that it bears more fruit and glorifies Him and all that. And I was struggling with this whole course, this whole field experience. I was like, oh man, what are my talents? Because I still don't really know what my strengths and talents are, and so therefore I don't really know how to multiply them. So I've been thinking about that, like what are my talents and my strengths? So that really kind of has been on my mind, like what are my talents? What are my God-given talents, and how can I multiply them? So plans for my psychological future. Basically, just accepting more internships during the summer and after graduation to inform my understanding of the practical aspects of the psychological field, right? Theory can only get you so far. And this internship has really taught me that I really need some practical experience, right? So I need to gain insight into what potential career directions are available, find mentors, and gain insight into my talents, like I mentioned before. And then I can start considering graduate study after experiencing fields of interest and gaining insight into my skills. So all of this plan for my future is really just getting experience, because I really don't know where to go. There's only so much that I actually truly know. You know, I've kind of like broken past the surface of the water and realized I'm still in a pretty big fish tank, so to speak. And again, effects on my career planning. Yeah, gain more experience. That's all I can really say. That's really the only thing I really feel like is the direction for me at the moment. Mentors, internships, training, all that type of stuff. Yeah, so in conclusion, that was my field experience at a middle school. It gave me some really good insights into my strengths, my weaknesses. I think I developed a few skills, especially based on what my goals were, just realizing that I kind of applied a lot more probably course content than I thought I did, but also realized that there's still a lot more to go. And I've kind of set myself a career, set my path into gaining a specific type of career in the psychological field potentially. But a lot of it has to do with wanting training and seeking mentorships and internships to be able to gain a potential career. So, but yeah, that's my presentation video of my field experience. So I want to thank Chris Kays. Yep, I know you're watching. Want to thank you for all of your support and likely your prayers as well. Thank you so much for a great semester, and I look forward to seeing you guys for winter and also graduation. Looking forward to it.